Shalom. This is the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, started out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, underneath Commander General YAHANNA. We are not affiliated or associated with any other Israelite group, man. Salaki. Tonight's topic, man, we're going to go into something very heavy, man. Something that is, plaguing the black community, man, the brown community, and the native Indian community. You know what I'm saying? That is fathers not being in the household amongst our families, man.
Right.
We have a lot of single parent households out here in the black and brown community, man, and nobody's really speaking about it. And a lot of our Christian churches are pushing that it's okay for us to have households like this, man. They're telling women, if men don't want to listen to you or, do what you tell them to do, you better off being single. But they don't understand the type of problem that they're creating with children not having their fathers in them, man. You think about everything, the stability that there is when it comes to a good family. You know what I'm saying? Like a man might make a mistake and do something the sister doesn't like have another woman, and she thinks the best thing for her to do is just to leave him. Right. And think getting with another man is going to be actually better for her. And that man that she's going to get with is going to be the same way. He's going to date other women, do whatever he wants to do. This brother is going to be way worse. He's not going to respect your children because those are not his kids.
Right.
And he damn sure ain't in the truth. Me and the brother Kalatas, I was watching something that was shared to us, and the sister said, when a man has sex with a woman, he conquers that woman. They said, when a woman allows that man to have sex with her, she's been conquered. So if a woman has a man and she goes out and has sex with another man, you have been conquered by another man. And that's why the Bible says sex is marriage. And if a sister goes out with another man and has sex with him, she's committed an act of adultery. You know what I'm saying? A man can have as many wives as he wants to because he's doing the conquering.
Right.
He's the one that's, taking the woman and marrying her, not her. Doesn't work like that. She's not marrying the men. The men are marrying her. The men are penetrating her. She's not penetrating anybody. I mean, it might be some sick, disgusting bastards out there in certain places that do stuff like that, but real women, man, they when they get married to a man, they stay with him. They understand the whole concept of, hey, listen, I lay down with him. This is my husband. But in today's society, man, we have that whorish culture has took full control over black and brown people, man. Our so-called native Indian brothers, our Latino brothers and sisters, man, and our black sisters, man, they have embraced that whorish culture, man. You know what I'm saying? They love it. It's a part of their lifestyle. They glorify it. Every day you turn on your TV, what do you see? Somebody twerking, sisters dressing so promiscuous with the sisters coming out here in bikinis. You know what I'm saying? Bikinis, like, come on, man. I think Cap said that. He said sisters will go to the beach and walk around with a bra and thong on. That is normal, but won't walk down the street in that. It's the same thing. If you go out on the beach in the same clothes, it doesn't matter. It's the same thing. I don't understand how some sisters can just do that. Just come out there like that. Like the type of, you can't have any shame about your body. But we're going to get into some scriptures and some articles. And if you have any questions, man, make sure you just, type in. Hey, we'll answer any of your questions. If we can't answer it, will be answered. But if we could, I'm trying to think. Can we get the one I sent you, the African American family scripture? You can read it when you're ready up.
African American family structure. The family structure of African American has long been a matter of national public policy interest.
Right, and like they said, it has always been a matter of national public policy interest. And you wonder to yourself, why are they so interested in the black and brown families? Because when they say black, it ain't just talking about so-called African Americans. This is talking about our Latinos brothers as well. So this has always been something that has been a matter of the national public policy. They want to know what our families are doing, how our families operating and how they, as a statistics, like, are they families better than the so-called Caucasian family? And the reason that they do this because this is a tactic of war. You have to learn your enemy. And that's what they're doing. They're studying our families. They're learning, what helps the family to succeed and what helps the family to, to decrease and to fail and to be in shambles. They know all of these things. And we're going to show you what they found out. Go ahead.
A 1965 report.
What year was this?
1965.
So this is a 1965 report. Go ahead.
By Daniel Patrick Moynihan, known as the Moynihan Report, examined the link between black poverty and family structure.
So he did a study in 1965, and he said he seen the link between black poverty and the family structure. Go ahead.
It hypothesized that the destruction of black nuclear family structure will hinder further progress toward economic and political equality.
All right, so it said the destruction of the black nuclear family was a structure that would hinder the further progress towards economic and political equality. So, they're starting to do the studies and they're trying to find out what had helped destroy the nuclear family. What destroyed the nuclear family amongst the black people? Go ahead.
When Moynihan wrote in 1965, the coming destruction of the black family.
In 1965, he wrote what?
On the coming destruction of the black family.
Go ahead.
The out of wedlock birth rate was 25% among black people.
Right. So back in 1965, they said out of black people, you had 25% of black people who had children out of wedlock. And what is wedlock? This is what Christians preach.
Right.
Christians preach that in order for a woman to be married to a man, she has to have a ring on her finger. So back in 1965, it was only 25% of women. A very small amount of women who had children out of so-called wedlock, meaning that there were a lot of black stable families back then.
Right.
You got 25%. The other 75% are families that have stability, meaning they have a father in their household, meaning the children are being raised. But it's another 25%, which is a small amount, that did not have that father in their life. Go ahead.
In 1991.
And when?
1991.
In 1991, what are some of the things that started to happen in 1991? If you're in the comment sections, put a reply in. What are some of the things that started to happen in 1991 in the black and brown community? We got any answers? Anything up?
Got two comments.
Come, we got it. Go ahead.
That brother Kalatazar said AIDS, and my red T-Boss said jobless and drugs.
Damn right. All three of those things are something that are heavy that affected the black and brown community. Drugs, AIDS, and your rib said, what else she said up? Jobless, being jobless. Those three things right there alone. Disease, drugs, disease, drugs, and no type of finances will destroy any family. I'm telling you, imagine having a parent that's on drugs and has no job. Imagine having a parent that has a disease, that is sick, that can't work. What do you think their parents are going to do if they can't work and they can't get a job? They're going to go to drugs. So imagine being a child raised in that household. You don't think there were black and brown families and children that were raised in households where they had parents that was on drugs that couldn't work? that were, affected with some type of disease and couldn't work. And another thing that affected us also was gang violence.
Right.
In 1991, the gangs were notorious, especially in California. California was the murder capital back in the 90s. New York, anywhere crack was, it was a horrible place to be. You went to New Orleans in the 90s when that crack hit, Lord have mercy. You would get killed over the crack. Crack was the new thing, man. You know what I'm saying? But that's some of the things that helped destroy the black and brown community, man. You can go ahead out on that article also.
In 1991, 68% of black children were born outside of marriage.
They said in 1991, 68% of children, of black children, were born outside of the marriage. And they wanted to make sure they tried to separate us from our Latino brothers and sisters. But if you would have put both numbers together, it would have blew it out the water, man. You think about all those black and brown children who did not have a father, who had mothers who had children out of so-called wedlock. I mean, they just had sex with a man and got pregnant, which is something that is still going on today. The UPK is the only people that understands what marriage truly is.
Right.
We understand sex is marriage, and that's the best way to be, because that's what the Lord ordained. You could think about this. Imagine how many sisters, if all of these sisters knew that sex was marriage, it would never be a 68% black children being born outside of marriage, man. Because the parents would understand, hey, once we lay down and have sex with each other, we are married. Right. Maybe we should just take some time and decide if this is what we really want to do, because neither one of us can leave each other. Right. It wouldn't even be 68%. The number would be so low, it wouldn't even be worth talking about. But they said since 1965, we had a 25% rate of children being born outside of marriage. But in 1991, you had 68%. That is a huge jump. I mean, you 2% away from being at 70. You know what I'm saying? You had our so-called Latino brothers, and the numbers are through the roof, man. The numbers are through the roof. You can go ahead up.
Where marriage is defined with a government-issued license.
Where marriage is what?
Defined with a government-issued license.
This is how marriage is defined by America. Marriage is defined by what?
A government-issued license.
That's how marriage is defined in America. Do we have a Bible dictionary, Bible Kushab? See, our oppressor, his way of marriage is a marriage license. Like, you have to have a marriage license in order to be considered together or married inside of Esau's kingdom, the suppressor kingdoms. But you could define marriage if you could, Bible Kushab, the water. I appreciate it. Let's find out what the Lord considered marriage. Because our oppressors believe having a government-issued license, meaning his government has to approve you having a wife. And you think about that, black man, Latino man, Native Indian man. You got to let this same devil who's oppressed you for years tell you that this is your wife. You got to go get permission from him. Like, hey, I want to be with her. All right, come on down to the courthouse. We'll let you know if we're going to certify it or not. You know what I'm saying? Make sure she ain't did nothing. We'll certify y'all marriage. Like, they're your father. When that's not marriage, man. Marriage used to be marriage is something beautiful in the UPK, man. We know sex is marriage. And we understand the whole concept of not being able to leave a woman because y'all get into an argument. Or a woman not being able to leave her man because he has another wife. We understand that concept. But America's concept of marriage is a government-issued license. But you can read it when you got it, because we're going to tell you what the Lord considers marriage in his eyes.
Zondervan Compact Bible Dictionary. Definition of marriage is an intimate personal union.
Marriage is what?
An intimate personal union.
It is an intimate personal union. I mean, this is a union between these people. And it's intimate. Meaning it's something sexual. Go ahead.
To which a man and woman consent.
To what?
Which a man and woman consent.
To where a man and woman consent. Not rape.
Right.
Like, she has to consent to this also. Not what these bastards believe in. You can hold a woman down and rape her, because you do have some fake Israelite groups that teach, it's okay to rape.
Right.
If that woman doesn't consent to it, it's not marriage, it's rape. But this is what marriage is, when a man and a woman consent to this intimate union. Go ahead.
Consummated and continually nourished by sexual intercourse.
And the way you make this marriage stronger is by what?
Constantly nourished by sexual intercourse.
What is a sexual intercourse? Anybody in the comment section know what a sexual intercourse is? Somebody, I hope it ain't no kids watching this. You got it, Shy, y'all.
It's sex when you enter the course.
That's right. That's what sex is. It's when it's like taking a course in the class. You got driving classes where you got to know how to crank the car. You got to know how to turn the wheel. You got to know how to shift the gears. Well, guess what? It's a sexual course that you and your wife have also.
Okay.
And you got to know how to do certain things also. With that, to nourish your marriage. Does it say anything about a license on that art? Yeah, that's not what the Bible considers marriage. A lot of our brothers and sisters are out here having sex, thinking it's just a feeling, when they don't even understand that's marriage. You got it out.
It's like I.S.U.P.K. His comment is sexual contact between an individual involving penetration, especially the insertion of a man erection penis into a woman's vagina.
That brother is very wise. That's the best way to explain it to somebody. That is the correct and proper way to explain it. That's what sex is. Little children out there. That's what marriage is. That's for all the whores out here who might tune into the class. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what sex is. Sex is something that a man and women do, man. You know what I'm saying? That's what sex is. Sex is marriage. It's not a piece of paper the government gives you. It's not a licensed piece of paper. That's not marriage. That's just a piece of paper. That's it. That's why everybody out here right now is having sex with whoever they want to have sex with, because they know it's just a piece of paper. They know it. Look, if I want to F this girl, I'm going to do it. I don't need no piece of damn paper to F her. I can F her and leave. Sisters, how they be? Oh, look, he look good. I'm just going to go ahead and do what I do, and that's it. You got it up.
Your brother Colossus, sex is where you take your rod and put it in her.
All right, that's marriage 101 for idiots. Like it.
It's like I got a little bit.
Come on, you got it.
And sometime 9 months later, a baby comes out.
Damn right. That's because Sapar gave the correct terminology on it, and Kualatazar made it very simple for you stupid whores out here.
Right.
He made it very simple. Like, what is marriage? We're gonna give you the proper way to explain it to you, and then we're gonna dumb it down for you, because we understand some of you whores are just so ruthless.
Right.
You don't even understand what sex is. You think, oh, I can open up my legs with anybody. No, sis. This is marriage also. You got it out. Any more comments up?
No, sir.
Kind. You got anything else on that?
And perfected in a lifelong partnership.
It's convicted in what?
A lifelong partnership.
In a what?
Lifelong partnership.
You just can't leave the man because you're in your feelings. And brother, you can't leave the sister because you're in your feelings. This is a lifelong relationship. Like, you gotta be willing to. What do they say when you go to death do us part? Well, goddamn, how's that worked out with people being married? People get married and they say what? Only what? 60%, 70% of people, 60, 70% of the marriages are they in divorce right now? You got all these people getting married, and out of all the marriages, 60 and 70% of them divorce each other. And they till death do us part, and 2 years later they divorce. Going to show you that licensed piece of paper doesn't mean nothing. You got homosexuals going to get the same piece of paper you got, and it smells horrible when they get it. So like that was it on that up.
A little more, sir.
Con, you got it.
A lifelong partnership of mutual love and commitment.
A what?
lifelong partnership of mutual love and commitment.
Yeah, you got to love that woman. And what is love? That we keep the commandments of the Lord. And it has to be you have to be committed to this woman. You got to be willing to do everything it takes to be committed to this woman, man. You can't leave this woman. No matter what, you committed to this woman. Yeah, she might get on your nerves. He might get on your nerves. But you have to be committed to that brother and sister, man. That was it on it up?
Just a little bit.
Okay, you got it.
It is also a social institution.
It's a what?
Social institution.
Go ahead.
Regulated by the word of God.
By what?
The word of God.
The way how your marriage is ran is by the word of the Lord. Not the word of your pastor, not the word of America, but of the word of the Lord. The Bible has the guideline on how to make your marriage succeed, man. And that's the problem with Black, Hispanics, and Native Indians right now. We are not following the guidelines that the Most High has established for us to keep in order to make our marriages strong, man. We're doing what our oppressors tell us to do. You see these oppressors, they getting divorces like it's nothing. A divorce is nothing. A divorce is nothing to a devil. They get married. Kim Kardashian, she was married to Kanye West, broke up with Kanye West, started having sex with another guy, what, a month later, 2 months later? And now she doesn't like him. Guess what? She's moving on to the next. That's what whores do, man. That's what adulterers do. That's what sluts do. Real sisters who are committed to the Lord, they stick with their man.
Right.
Yeah, I know he got another real, but listen, I'm not focused on that. I'm focused on what me and him have. I'm not letting her relationship get in the way of mine. I'm not asking him a million questions. Oh, what you and your real doing? This and that, this and that. No, I'm going to work this out with him because we don't need a single family household. I don't need to be raising these kids on my own, man. I don't need that. You can think about how much stress falls on a lot of sisters, man. And some sisters, I understand that a lot of the times it's not your fault. Even now, it's not even your fault. And sometimes it is a lot of sisters' fault. But that whole mentality a lot of our sisters have of, I don't need a man, comes from the oppressor. Comes from our Christian churches. Boosting our women heads up, telling them they do not need a man. And they take the advice from the church because they feel like the church is where the Lord is. And they kick their man out and then end up raising these boys and these girls by themselves. And sometimes it might work out good, but majority of the times, man, it doesn't work out, man. The streets end up raising your kids. Anything else? Anybody have any comments? Anything?
Brother Colossus, he said because he ain't getting something for her birthday or didn't have money to take her out.
Right, yeah, she gonna divorce you for that. Let you be poor. It's like, hey, Shalom, Lord in Christ. I'm teaching class. I'm gonna get you a call back. All right, but we can go back to the article also.
In 2011, 72% of black babies.
How many children?
72%.
So in 2011, 72% of black babies, go ahead,
were born to unmarried mothers.
well, what?
Born to unmarried mothers.
So now the numbers have jumped up to 72%. So 72% of marriage of women that have kids end up having them by themselves, man. They don't have that marriage that these devils consider marriage. Meaning it's like, you got it.
And that's crazy because from, well, I think it was, you said 64, 65, up until 91. From 91 to this time, it's half of, less than half.
Less than half. And then you go to 2011, the number jumps up to 72%. And I believe they're just lying about that. I believe it's more. I believe it's more than that. Because majority of all the kids that stayed in the hood, a lot of kids didn't have the whole family structure, man. A lot of kids are just raised by mothers. Raised by grandmas. Raised by aunties and stuff like that. But in 2011, the numbers jumped up to 72%. Go ahead, up.
While the 2018 National Vital Statistic Report provides a figure of 69.4% for this condition. Among the newlywed, 18% of black Americans in 2015 married non-black spouses.
Go ahead.
24% of all black male newlyweds in 2015 married outside their race.
And so you had 24% of black men decided it was better to go marry some devil. Go ahead.
Compared with 12% of black female newlyweds.
So go ahead.
5.5% of black males married white women in 1990.
Yeah, look how low the number was in 1990. Black men wasn't even marrying white women in the 90s, man. 5.5%. And then by 2015, it was 24%. Everybody want to marry a devil. Go ahead, all right.
And that right there is just speaking strictly off of the hard copy. That ain't talking about how many brothers really out here laying up with.
That part, brothers who don't get in the statistic. Because you had tons of brothers who got white girlfriends who they're having sex with. And that's the problem with this society, man. Since they teach that sex is not marriage, you just go have sex with somebody and, you're good. That's fine. That's cool. That's not marriage. It's just sex. The stupidity and the audacity of these devils, man. If you could, could you get me? I'm trying to see. I'm just looking for that scripture. All right, Con, if you could you get me So I'm just trying to find the scripture. Can you give me Psalms chapter 82, verse 3?
82 verse 6.
Come.
Psalms 82 verse 2. How long will ye judge unjustly and accept the person of the wicked? Verse 3.
Go ahead.
Verse 3. Defend the poor.
Do what?
Defend the poor.
That's what we're supposed to be doing, and that's what the I.S.U.P.K does, man.
Right.
We defend the poor. Because a lot of these family households, man, these single family households, man, a lot of those sisters are poor, man. And somebody has to defend them. Because if nobody defends them, they're going to be very vulnerable, man. Read that again out if you could, Barbara Shaw.
Verse 3. Defend the poor.
Go ahead.
And the fatherless.
And the what?
Fatherless.
Right. Go ahead.
Do just to the afflicted and needy.
All right, you know what I'm saying? And listen, man. Defend the poor and the fatherless, man. You know how many of these kids that don't have fathers, they just need somebody to protect them, man. They need somebody to be there in their corner. Man, you know how many children are inside those shelter homes, those foster homes being raised by no parents? You know how many black and brown children are in there, man, inside of those places? Tons of brothers and sisters, man. If you could also, could you get me Ecclesiasticus chapter 4, verse 10?
Ecclesiastes 4:10. Be as a father unto the fatherless.
Do what?
Be as a father unto the fatherless.
And that's what it's taking right now, man. That's what the UPK is establishing. It's so many kids out here that don't have a good role model, man. Sometimes you got to step up and be that father figure, man. You got to step in. No, don't do that, little bro. Those kids that don't have a father, you know how many of our men are in jail right now? We make up the highest rate of people being in prison. Black and brown men and Native Indian men, we make up the highest rate of people being in the prison in the whole entire earth. There are more people in prison than there were in slavery at one point in time. And it's majority black and brown people, man. So what happens when you have those children that don't have their fathers in their life? Guess what? Somebody got to step up, man, and be a father. And Ecclesiasticus says what?
Be as a father unto the fatherless.
Be a father to those kids that don't have a father, man. That don't mean go beat the hell out of them and whoop them. That means just be there, teach them. Teach them and let them learn, man. Go ahead.
And instead of a husband unto the mother.
All right, don't be so quick to always want to smash their mothers. Ain't that something that always happens in the black and brown community?
Right.
They don't even worry about the damn kids. They so worried about getting off with the mama, they ain't even trying to be a father to the kids. The kids see the brother come over all the time. He come over, he chilling, he look at the kids, what's up, little man? And walk right in the back room and get his mama the business. The scripture says, you know what I'm saying? And instead of a husband unto their mother, man. Don't be so quick to want to have sex with that woman, man. Check on them kids sometimes, man. Hey, y'all all right? What y'all need? Y'all need anything? Is there anything I can do? If you're dealing with this woman, man, and you know, y'all don't got married as far as having sex, man, tell that sister what's real, man. Let her know, hey, look, I believe sex is marriage. Before we even should lay down and have sex, I got to let you know that first. Like, you're my woman. You're my rib. You belong to me. That's why it's so important for us to put that time in. That's why the school stresses the 1 year rule. Get to know a sister. Sister, get to know a brother before y'all decide to lay down and do, which is marriage. Get to know him. Get to know what you're getting yourself into on both parts. Because you don't want to be the person that's sitting up here leaving or a woman that doesn't have the father figure for her children. You know what I'm saying? And you got some cowards out here who like to run away from responsibilities. You got a lot of cowards that got kids and just be like, you know what, I ain't dealing with her. And you got some sisters who don't even do anything. They just real good sisters who are just vulnerable, man. And you got brothers that prey on that. You got it up. Okay, come. You know what I'm saying? You got brothers that prey on that. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to read the scripture again. It says, Ecclesiastes chapter 4, verse 10. Be as a father unto the fatherless, and instead of a husband unto their mothers. So shalt thou be as the son of the Most High. You know what I'm saying? This is what the son of the Lord did. This is what Christ did, man. Christ was a father to those children out there. He wasn't worried about trying to sleep with their mothers or anything. He was trying to uplift this people, man. That's what our King Yahushua HaMashiach was doing. He was uplifting our people, man. Bringing brothers and sisters together, man. Raising up the nation of Israel. That's how we should be. You should have that same spirit if you're a black or Latino or Native Indian, man. You see what these Christian pastors doing to our neighborhoods, man. These Christian pastors are just gay as they could be. Majority of them homosexuals. They trying to have sex with your kids, your daughters, your wives. Damn pastor trying to have sex with everybody he can get his hands on in your family. I'm going to keep reading. It says, so shalt thou be as the son of the Most High, and he shall love thee more than thy mother doth. You know what I'm saying? So like, and that's the job and responsibility of the priests and prophets in the I.S.U.P.K. It's like, if I could, I get no more. Oh shit, it's like. Oh, that's the one right there. If you could you get Matthew? Could you get Mark 3:27?
Mark 3:27. No man can enter into a strong man's house.
No man can do what?
Enter into a strong man's house.
No man can enter into a strong man's house, man. You're going to have to be willing to lose your life trying to enter into a strong man's house.
Right.
You're going to get killed trying to enter into a strong man's house. Go ahead.
And spoil his goods.
And spoil his goods. And what are a man's goods inside of his house? His family, his children, his kids, his possessions that he have. No man can spoil this strong man's house. And this is something that you fools out there should understand. You got women out there, oh, I want to be spoiled. I want a man to spoil me. No. You don't want a woman that's spoiled. Because then she begins to act like a brat, like a child. Why do you think spoiled children are horrible? Why do you think spoiled milk is horrible? Nobody wants that.
Right.
You want spoiled food? No, you throw it out. Same thing with dealing with spoiled children. They're horrible. They got to have everything they see. Just like a woman who's been spoiled. She starts wanting to live a certain type of lifestyle. Next thing you know, she's raising children by herself, man. You can go ahead out on that.
Except he will first bind the strong man.
First, he's going to have to do what?
Bind the strong man.
How did they bind the black and brown community with our men?
There's a few, sir. They put, crack in the neighborhood.
Crack in the neighborhood. I would say that's number one.
Take him out the household.
Take him out the household, literally. And how did they take him out of the household? Like, they didn't physically come in and take him out, but what were some of the tactics that the oppressor used to take our strong men out of the households? Drugs was one of them.
Section 8.
Section 8. And that's so heavy because back in the 90s, majority of black women were on Section 8. I know women right now who have been on Section 8 since I was a child and still are on Section 8. Still, I know a couple because I've seen them in the project still. I was like, damn, she used to stay back in this project. Oh, yeah, she stays out here now. I was like, for real? She's like, yeah, man, she was on that Section 8. She still get it because one of the damn kids, they ain't trying to move nowhere. She gets it all the way until the kids get 18. Some sisters that have a baby maybe every 6 years just to continue to stay on it. Go ahead.
And then he will spoil his house.
And then what?
He will spoil his house.
Yeah, once you bind this strong man with drugs, alcohol, anybody put any comments in on how to bind a strong man?
The brother y'all said child support.
Oh, that child support will run any man off.
Right.
Go ahead.
And the brother Kazak was referring to the topic prior on behalf of marriage. He was saying, "Osai in Christ, sir, because we are separated purposely during chattel slavery, destroyed."
Yeah, right.
Our oppressor Esau said this to us: "Do you take this woman or man to be your spouse until death, or distant you depart?"
That's heavy. Like this oppressor telling us what's marriage, man.
Right.
Rather than listen to the Lord, we got this oppressor. Back in slavery were the ones who were supposed to be like the overseeing your marriage. Master, can I marry her? I don't know if I'm gonna let you marry her, Joe. But we in love. What you mean y'all in love, boy? Nothing, sir. You can't even marry the woman that you're in love with. You gotta marry who he considers your wife, who he thinks you'll be good with, who you're compatible with, who would make strong kids. Rather than something that's based off something that the Lord wants to be. You're being married because some devil wants y'all to be together. I remember when they said that about LeBron James and Serena Williams. Some devil said he thinks LeBron James and Serena Williams should have kids because of the physical qualities that both of them had. That's the oppressor. That's the devil. Yes, it was a Caucasian man that said that, and that's the devil, and that's the oppressor. That's what he wants. He'd rather them do that just so he can be like, we're gonna have some good slave kids. Any comments up?
Nah, so like I said, I was just thinking like that's heavy. They put them two together, they make money. Meanwhile, they put two crackheads together to make money.
They'd do anything. As long as it's bringing in that green, they don't give a damn. If you could you get that article, the next article that says fatherless single and mother homes? It's like a blue ring with a little red in it. Con, you got it out whenever you're ready.
Okay. Fatherless single mother home statistic. Many school shooters are the product of broken homes.
They said many school shooters, meaning these devils who shoot at the schools, many of them do that because of broken homes. But what do black and brown people do from broken homes? Who do we go take our anger out on? Who do we take our anger out on? Because you got oppressors who go shoot up schools. But what do we do when we have broken homes? Anybody can answer. What do black and brown children do who have broken homes? You got it out.
Ourselves and each other.
Right. Right, that's what we do. We do each other. We do each other the worst way too. Shoot each other, kill each other, drugs, alcohol. We run to those things as a coping mechanism to help us deal with the pain. You have these oppressive children out here, they go into school and shoot everybody.
Right.
And guess what? They get to live and go be in jail and they get to live on their life. But our children, man, we have to deal with it and fight through it every day. Not having a father, not having a mother. You know, there are children also that are black and brown who have had mothers that abandoned them, who abandon the children. Children are being raised by certain family members because the mother doesn't want the child or she doesn't want to be fully dedicated to being the mother to the child. So she lets some family member raise the child. You can go ahead, Op.
School shootings have been increasing, and there is a strong probability that this is the product of single-parent homes that are fatherless.
And who's doing all the school shooting? Somebody tell me, who's doing all the school shooting? Anybody can answer it though. You got it out.
We got two comments.
Kind.
Shapar said crazy Edomite.
That's right.
And my real said so-called mental patient.
Damn right. Damn right. Mental patients and these oppressors are doing the school shootings. But remember this. You have so many black and brown kids that have mental issues, man. And guess what? They shoot each other. They go out the streets and shoot each other, murder each other because of a broken home. Guess what? If mama's at work and daddy's not there, guess who's going to raise the kid? The streets of the prison system. That's who's raising our kids right now. Because we in so much hell, guess what? You got to work 12 hours. You got to work 2 jobs. Just to be able to get your kid a pair of shoes and outfits to go to school with, man. Go ahead up.
The result of a failed social experiment by the family courts. Family courts force children into broken homes.
The what?
Family court force children into broken homes.
And this is more proof to show you, man. You got DSS out here that are taking children and doing what?
Forcing children into broken homes.
They're forcing children into broken homes. Go ahead.
With single parents, just because the parents divorce or separate, even when both parents are fit.
Putting these kids into broken homes, man. Go ahead.
Broken homes are leading to adolescent epidemics.
Go ahead.
The following statistics were submitted by Paul Clements, a father in this fight, who has shared his compiled research. Much of the research is gender-based because there has been a strong father initiative over the last decade to get fathers back into children's lives after a
monotrophy standard.
Monotrophy standard, which, by the way, was implemented from mental health workers that the court adopted, adapted as the tender years doctrine.
Like so said, she said they had mental health workers come in there and try to help the court, man. Because they were trying to figure out how are these kids, man, getting pushed into these households and coming out with the absolute epidemic, man. Absolute fathers in the household, mothers as well. You got fathers and mothers who are not in their children's life, man.
Right.
Go ahead.
This is where the belief was that mothers were better suited for parents and children.
They said what?
Belief was that mothers were better suited for parents and children.
This was their belief. This wasn't something that they knew was true. This was something that they believed. They believed that the children would be better with the mother. Go ahead.
Which drove gender biases. Family court policies like tender years doctrine caused the loss of fathers in children's lives.
And since they did this, guess what? It caused a lot of children to lose their fathers in their lives, man. Because some fathers didn't want to be demasculated.
Right.
Some fathers didn't want to be belittled. You know how many fathers get belittled out here, man? I know tons of fathers, but guess what, man? Like, it works hand in hand. You got some brothers who don't want to do anything for their children from the get-go. Find out the sister pregnant. Oh, you pregnant? Yeah, I'm pregnant. Oh, okay. Bounced out. She going 12 years raising kids by herself. No father figure in the life. It works hand in hand, man. This ain't just affecting so-called black and brown men and Native Indian men. This is affecting black and brown women and also Native Indian women. It's affecting them bad. You know how many men don't cowered out and ran? Left our women by themselves with them children and raised by themselves? That's a hard ordeal, man. It's hard trying to raise kids on your own. Because the spouse is left, the man is left, the woman is left. It don't even matter. It's a horrible thing for any of us to have to experience.
Right.
Go ahead, up.
Look at the detriment to children in society, which come from sole maternal custody. Pause. Right.
Right. So he was telling people, look at the damage, man, that's causing our children, man, in society when it comes to people trying to figure out who needs to have custody over the kids. The father feels like he's better. The mother feels like she's better. Now they at conflict with each other. When all they had to do was read the Bible, man, when it tells you that a man and woman cannot divorce each other.
Right.
You can't just dump her because you don't want to. You got to fight through that thing, man. Same thing for you men. You just can't dump that woman. Women, you too, you can't just dump that man because you don't like what he does. You got to fight through that. That's the best part about a marriage is being willing to fight to stay together, man. That's the best thing about a marriage, man. Being able to stand together and fight to make your marriage work. Not run and go get somebody else. That's disgusting. Anything else on that up? You can go to the next one.
Single mothers, homes, statistics. 37.8% of single mothers are divorced.
What?
37.8% of mothers are divorced.
37.8% of single mothers are divorced, man. Most of these women are single because they divorced their husband or their husband divorced them. Go ahead.
41% never married.
How many?
41%.
So you do the math. 41% plus 37.8%. And go ahead.
And only 6.5% widows.
So then you had another 6.5% were widows. So you do the math and add that up, the number is going to be phenomenal. And then everybody else that's left over, they are married. Like, listen, this is why our nation is being destroyed, man. This is why we have single parent households out here right now, man. Single parent households out here right now, man. Women divorcing men by 48%, or men divorcing women by 48%, 41%. And then, by 37%, then you have another 41% who ain't never been married. According to America's standard of marriage, when sex is marriage according to the Bible. Like we said earlier, the numbers wouldn't even be this high if we followed and listened to the Lord, man.
Right.
If we followed and listened to the Lord, we wouldn't even be dealing with these type of statistics and numbers. And guess what? We can come back and serve the Lord and learn how to be married correctly. Can't nobody stop what the Lord has ordained, man. If we knew sex was marriage, man, guess what, man? We would stop single parent households in 1 year. In 1 year, if black and brown people decided, like, listen, man, we're going to do what the Bible says, man. Sex is marriage. I'm not going to touch this woman unless I'm ready to spend the rest of my life with her, man. Sisters the same way. Listen, brother, I don't think we should even lay down and have sex because I've been taught sex is marriage. And let's not do that unless me and you are both willing to spend the rest of our life with each other. I'm not going to do this if you're going to leave out on me, if you're going to leave me by myself. Let's not do it. You know how many people would stop that? You know what the black and brown community would look like? It'd be beautiful, man. It'd be beautiful in a year if our people, all black and brown people, came back and started doing this. If we did what the Lord told us when it comes to sex, man.
Right.
Rather than just get a good feeling and keep moving. Listen, man, I drink a cold glass of wine, man. That's a good feeling. That's a good feeling. Y'all out here having sex and destroying families, man. Men and women. Out here having a good time, having sex with no responsibility. Nobody wants to be accountable and responsible for their relationship anymore. People just have sex and I don't want to talk to them. I'm done. I don't want to talk to them. I'm done. That's not how it's supposed to be, man. And this is the reason why we have single family households out here, man. Nobody wants to be accountable for their actions. And it's horrible, man. In your church, in your filthy, disgusting church, your pastor is the reason why we had this mentality. That's the reason why a lot of black men had that mentality. A lot of black women had that mentality. What's the movie? What the pastor said? Women thou art loose. Right. If he don't listen to you, girl, find you another one. If he just want to sit on the couch, kick him to the curb and get you another one. Now you done made this woman kick out the kid's father, and now you're gonna allow something inside of that house that is worse than anything they have ever experienced, man. You know what I'm saying? Something that is worse than ever, man. You know what I'm saying? Like last week, we was talking about how many children have been raped due to single parent households, man. Because guess what? Sexual predators prey on single women, man. You got sexual predators out here who prey on single women. Like where I'm from, and we was talking about the brother who raped the woman, man, raped the woman's kids because they were vulnerable. It was one dude, he was with the woman, he raped her 5-year-old child and gave her kid an STD, man. This is right where I'm from. This is the city that I'm from, man, the little country town I'm from. I went to school with the brother. When I seen it, I was disgusted. I was like, this sick bastard, man. He preyed on this sister. The brother went, worked the job, did what he had to do, paid the bills. As soon as he found the opportunity to rape her child, he raped her child and gave the kid an STD, man. Gave her 5-year-old son an STD, goddamn D. You got it out.
And that's another thing, because Facebook, these brothers and sisters be so heavy on, these old challenges and stuff. And they say, how do you feel about, a test drive with one night stand? And you'll see brothers getting on there talking about something. You don't just take a car off the lot, you test drive it first. And sisters really feel as if you test drive that man before you commit to him.
Sheesh.
But it might be that one time where you might catch an oil leak, not look at you got STDs or something.
You You might wreck and die. Go test drive that car. Shy, that's heavy that you said that. Like sisters look at being with a man as test driving a car. Like, I'm not gonna get the car unless I test drive it. Well, sis, how's that worked out? You think any man want to continue to be with you? You don't test drove 100 cars, and none of those cars fit you perfect. You think somebody else want to let you test drive them? Can I test drive your car? Oh, I'm good, sis. I heard about you. You're a notorious whore. You think sisters gonna want a man to test drive? You know, sisters don't like men that are whoremongers either now. They don't like a man who don't slept with 60, 70 women and he just popping back up. They don't mind if you got money, but if you're just a regular average brother, they're not gonna listen. They're not gonna deal with you. They're not gonna deal with you at all, man. It's like, shit, we ain't got no charger, do we? C charger? Con, we should be too hard though. I got about 8%. Yeah, we should be too hard. Con, you can go ahead on that up.
Brookings Institute assessing the impact of welfare reform on single mothers. Part 2. March 22, 2004. The strongest predictor of whether a person will end up in prison is that they were raised by a single mother.
They were what?
Raised by a single mother.
So they said the predictor whether a person will end up in prison is what?
It's like predicted of whether a person will end up in prison.
Go ahead.
Is that they were raised by single mothers.
So they're saying that the easiest way to predict if a man would be in prison or a woman to be in prison is if they were raised by single mothers. And we're not blaming our sisters, but these are the statistics and the facts. They're saying that more children will end up in prison because they were raised by single mothers. Because a lot of mothers are emotional, and there's nothing wrong with women being emotional.
Right.
You know, that's what women do. Like, they keep a balance. When you got a strong man in the household, you got that woman who's gentle and beautiful and she's nourishing those kids. Listen, you whoop that child ass, he go to mama, he hold her. Baby, you gotta listen to what your father say. Yes, ma'am. And it brings a balance in the household.
Right.
Brings a good balance in the household. Imagine if the woman gotta whoop your ass. It's like she gotta whoop the kids' ass. She's dealing with all these kids. She got 3 kids. She's by herself dealing with all of them. She's gonna be mentally unstable after a certain time. You got it out.
Oh no, loud. I'm too loud.
She's gonna be mentally unstable because she's trying to play the role of a father and a mother, and it starts to make her mentally unstable because it's too much. It's too much on her. She trying to work. She's trying to raise the kids, take the kids to school. She's trying to handle all this. She's trying to handle her emotions, her kids' emotions. And sometimes when parents do this, guess what? They're able to determine if a child's going to be in prison or not off this. Oh, that kid been raised by a single mother? Oh, he'd be in prison. And guess what? It's true. It's true, man. Half of the brothers and sisters in jail, they'll tell you, yeah, I was raised in a single parent household. Yeah, I didn't have my father. Yeah, I was raised like that. Go ahead.
C.C. Harper and S.S. McClanahan, fathers absent and youth incarceration. Papers present at the annual meeting of the American Sociological Association.
Right. So they had this American sociological paper that they presented. And go ahead in 1996. Go ahead.
San Francisco, California, 1998. In 1996, 70% of inmates.
How many?
76. So like 70% of inmates.
Go ahead.
In state juvenile detention center serving long sentences were raised by single mothers.
Listen, this is not to put an attack on our women. The U.P.K, man, we are teaching brothers and sisters, man. But they said 70% of inmates in state juvenile detention centers that were serving long sentences were raised by single mothers, man. Meaning that It's something missing there. There's something missing. And with this missing, guess what? 70% of the children that was raised inside that are in the state juvenile detention centers that are serving longer sentences were raised by single mothers, man. And it's not like how you know how some people try to blame the woman. Oh, guess what? Guess what that mean? You know, y'all women ain't doing your job. No, we're not doing our job.
Right.
Both men and women. We're not doing our job. We're trying to learn how to raise a family from an animal. That's like going to the lion. Hey, lion, how you raise your family? You go to the goddamn lion. You trying to ask the lion, how you raise your family, man? You going to an animal to ask for advice on how to raise your kids. You want the rest of it? That's a lot. Saving it for you. You going to a goddamn animal and asking him how to raise children. And then the worst thing about it is, this is your enemy. You going to your enemy to ask him how to raise your children. What did Bill Clinton's wife, what's her name? What did Hillary Clinton say what black and brown children were in the 80s? What did she say we were? What did she say our kids were in the 80s? What did she say black and brown kids were in the 80s? Anybody can answer it. What did Hillary Clinton say black and brown children were in the 80s? And she got on the news and said this devil. You can answer if anybody got any comments or anything to it. What did Hillary Clinton say what black and brown children were in the 80s? Anybody answer? You got it out.
Check real quick. No answers. Did she say they were super predators?
That's exactly what Hillary Clinton said in the 90s, in the early 80s and the 90s. The late 80s and the early 90s. She said black and brown children were super predators because we the ones that were getting locked up and incarcerated. And the only reason that we were getting locked up and incarcerated was because 70% of us were being raised in single-parent households. And all of this didn't just happen by accident. Our women weren't made single mothers by their own doings. Somebody orchestrated this plan. Somebody carried out certain things in order for our women to have to raise children on their own. And like we said, we read in the other article, in 1965, they already knew this was going to happen. In 1965, they knew that in the 90s and late 90s, that there were going to be a 70% increase in children being incarcerated because of them not having their fathers in their household. They knew this in 1965. Like this devil, he plots ahead of time. Like he does things that's going to affect you later on down the road. Just like when they let Barack Obama make gay sex legal. They knew, like, if we do this now, this is going to affect them later on down the road from 10 years from now, 15 years from now, 20 years from now. And look at the condition the black and brown community are in now due to homosexuality being legal. We got monkeypox on the rise because men can't keep their hands off each other's buttocks. Because they want to be gay. Now we got monkeypox. Because men want to be gay. Now we got AIDS. But this is the result of children being raised up without their fathers in their household, man. Go ahead, up.
Wade Horn, why is there no substitute for parents? In Prism 26, number 6, June 1997. The proportion of single-parent households in a community predicts its rate of violent crimes and burglary. But the community's poverty level does not source. D.A. Smith and G.R. Jar, Social Structure and Criminal Victimization, Journal of Research in Crime and Delinquency, 25th of 1988.
Right, so they said that single-parent households in the community, man, predicts the rate of violent crimes and burglary. So they're letting you know, man, a single-parent household is going to determine the rate of violence and the amount of burglaries. Imagine if you got a whole neighborhood full of kids that don't have, they're missing one of their parents. Imagine the rate of violence and burglaries you're going to have in your neighborhood. Guess what? You wonder why these children are out of control now? You wonder why you got your NBA young boys and you got your Chief Keefs, your Lil Durks. Guess what? Lil Durk wasn't raised by his father either. You know that, right? He wasn't raised by his father. His father was in prison. And you want to blame us for the reason that we are, like, you oppressors blame us. And the worst thing I can hear oppressors say is, you know, y'all are violent. You need to fix the black on black crime in the neighborhoods. Well, listen, you devils made us like this. Y'all robbed us of that family structure.
Right.
When you put heroin in our ghettos. When you sent our fathers to Vietnam to go fight for your war. You destroyed our families, man. When you put crack and cocaine in our neighborhoods. When you said HIV and AIDS is okay. When you legalized weed. You destroyed our family households, man. But guess what? Somehow we still get blamed for it. Well, listen, y'all didn't have to smoke the crack. Well, guess what? We're poor. We're poor. Since 1965, y'all knew this was coming to the black community and the brown community and the Native Indian community. And what did y'all do to try to help us and change that? They did nothing. You don't think these government officials read the articles and the statistics? You don't think they look for these things like, okay, this is what's going to happen if we don't help them? Okay, let's not help them for another 10 years. Let's see what happens. Why do you think we still in such a crappy position in the ghetto, man? They know poverty brings single-parent households, man. How many fathers that went out here and tried to sell drugs just to provide food and a better lifestyle for their kids and end up doing 10, 15 years in prison or end up dead? Trying to do the same thing to get Christmas presents and birthday presents. And guess what? That man ends up dead in jail. And guess what? Those children don't have a father in their life. The mother is forced to have to raise them children on her own, dealing with depression, dealing with anxiety, dealing with all type of things that come from this hell and being afflicted in it. But yet somehow we still get blamed for it. You can go ahead up. Should be at 72%.
72% of juvenile murders.
Go ahead. So you said what? Say that again.
72% of juvenile murders.
72% of juvenile murders. Come on, man. 72%. 72%. Go ahead.
And 60% of rape.
And what?
60% of rapists.
So more than half of your juvenile murderers and your rapists. Go ahead.
Came from single mother homes.
They came from where?
Single mother homes.
They came from, listen, man. Listen, you disgusting pastors make me sick.
Right.
You make me sick, you disgusting bastards. I hate you pastors with a different type of hatred. I hate you bastards. Because the reason why we have more murders inside of our neighborhood and more rapists inside of our neighborhoods is because y'all have pushed our women to be single mothers, man. You don't need a man. Anybody that says that if any woman knows that you have a man, especially a brother inside of this school, man, and sisters be having friends and mothers, mainly that mother. It's mainly that mother. When a sister comes into the school, she tells, yeah, you know, ma, you know, he can have more than one wife. Oh, you stupid. you should leave him. You better off being by yourself.
Right.
Any woman that tells another woman she's better off being by herself, you should kick her out of your house. You say, bitch, you be by yourself.
Right. You
disgusting bitch. Because with us being by ourselves, guess what? 72% of our kids are going to be murderers. 60% of our kids are going to be rapists. Because you telling me you should be by yourself? You better off being by yourself. And that's why the UPK, we hate when we hear that. We hate when people say, I'm not going to be with you. I could raise these kids on my own. You stupid bitch. No, you cannot. The statistics are already out. It's telling you 70% of children that commit murder have been raised inside of single family households. Why do you think when most boys get to what, 13, 12, I think that's what age I was when I went to the streets. 12 or 13, they go to the streets and they allow the streets to raise them. Because the mother's single. She's by herself. She's single. She's by herself. What's she going to do to try to get him? Especially she got 4 other kids to worry about, 2 other kids to worry about. You think she can take the time to focus on him and she still has to work? Still has to make sure the lights get turned on. The father, he's in jail or he's dead or he just straight up left. He hit the coward move and dipped out. So now she's by herself. You think she got time to be running back and forth to these schools to talk to these people? You think she has time to take you to a counselor to get help? She working 2 jobs to make sure you can go to school looking nice. She's working 2 jobs to make sure y'all have cable, making sure you have a roof over your head, making sure you have food. You think she has time to do that? Nah, she doesn't, man. She doesn't have time, man. You can read that again for that 72% again up.
72% of juvenile murderers and 60% of rapists came from single mother homes. Chuck Colosin, How Shall We Live? Titan House, 2004. After controlling for single motherhood, the difference between black and white crime rates disappeared.
So it disappeared. Go ahead.
Progressive Policy Institute, 1990, quoted by David Blankenhorn, Fatherless America, confronting our most urgent social problem.
And that was the most urgent social problem, was single fatherless households, man. That was the problem. Go ahead.
New York, Harper. Growing up without a father could permanently alter the structure of the brain.
It could do what?
Alter the structure of the brain.
Growing up without your father could do what?
Alter the structure of the brain.
This could be a permanent thing. They're telling you this could be a permanent thing, man. A child growing up with a father could be a permanent structure to the brain, meaning that this is going to be a problem to this child's brain because they haven't been raised with their father. Do you understand what we're trying to teach you, man?
Right.
Do you understand what we're trying to we're trying to tell you how important that family structure is. Listen, no man should beat on any woman. No man should beat on a woman. But if y'all two arguing about something simple, oh, listen, babe, I don't like what you're doing. No, I'm going to do this and do that. Come on, babe, chill. Let's not do this. Oh, no, you ain't going to do this. No, I don't like that. Oh, you got another rib. Listen, y'all can handle that. But they're telling you, when those children grow up without their fathers, man, when those precious babies that y'all have, those little kids, when they grow up without their father, they're telling you, it could be a permanent structure to the brain. Like this directly affects your child's brain. And all you women out here who on purposely keep your children away from your father because maybe he done something that you don't like. Oh, he talking to this hoe. Oh, he gonna go sleep with her. And then you decide to be wise and take your child away from the father. Listen, there are some cases where sisters have abusive husbands. And the best thing for them to do sometimes is to separate in order for her to live and those kids to live. But now y'all have the UPK. It's no excuses. Come in here and learn, man. Like your child doesn't have to grow up without a father.
Right.
Your child will have the best brothers and sisters they could possibly have. We'll watch them kids. You don't have to be alone. We'll watch them kids. We'll take them kids to wherever they need to go. We'll be that father figure, that big brother figure to them kids, man.
Right.
Rather than that child have to grow up without a father and have to deal with permanent brain structure, man. You can go ahead up. It should be and produce more children.
And produce more children who are more aggressively and angry.
And produce what?
More children who are more aggressive and angry.
And you see those kids that be in school,
Right.
who be aggressive and be angry. It's because a lot of them kids don't have their father, man. I seen something, it kind of broke my heart a little bit, man. Because the child was acting out. And you know how back then they used to bring the child to one of those shows, and they bring the drill sergeant out there. You think you going to talk to your mother like that? Huh? You think you going to talk to your mother like that? It was yelling at the devil was yelling at the kid. And it was an oppressor, but it made me understand. It didn't break my heart, but it made me understand. It made me understand that the only reason this kid is acting out is because he wants attention from a father.
Right.
And the dude came out there and was yelling at him. And the kid started smiling. And he said, you think this funny? He said, you want me to tell you what to do? He was like, yeah. He was like, why? He said, because I don't have a father to tell me what to do. And it broke it broke the drill sergeant. He said, and had to take his hat off and take the boy backstage because he started to cry. It broke him. Because our people don't understand the psychological damage that is done to a child when they don't have that father figure, man.
Right.
It's a balance. It's the same thing when a child doesn't have a mother. Think about that pain that kid has when they don't have their mother. That mother they can, mommy, hug mommy. When they don't have that, that'll destroy any generation of people, man. And these bastards, these devils who rule others, they did this on purpose, man. They intentionally made sure that our households would not be complete with both parents. They have been knowing this since 1965, man. The devil said the upcoming destruction of the black community, because they knew with the heroin epidemic in the 60s, Martin Luther King telling us to join with our enemies, brothers going to war, they already foreseen what was going to happen to our communities. They already knew, like, listen, if they keep up with this, they ain't going to have no men in their households. And what did the oppressor do? Did he make any type of programs that help, fix the black community, fix the brown community? Because guess what? There wasn't just black men getting sent to war. There were brown, that was our Latino brothers, our Native Indian brothers. We were getting sent to war. It wasn't black men coming back from war with PTSD and all type of trauma. There were so-called Latino brothers and sisters or brothers doing the same thing, man. You think when the crack hit, you think it just hit the black community? Come on, man. When crack hit, it hit the whole LA. Guess what Los Angeles full with? Blacks and Mexicans. There wasn't blacks just smoking crack. There were Mexicans smoking crack too. I had partners. I had brothers that was like my brothers, Latino brothers, who moved from Cali, who moved from Mexico because their mother, who was married to a man, got on drugs. Listen, I come from the hood. Guess what? There were I.S.U.P.K brothers smoking crack. I knew so-called Negro brothers, African American brothers, and so-called Mexican brothers became friends because they smoked crack together. I seen it with my own damn eyes. I watched it. I was in the street. I seen it. It always was a brother. They worked at the same plant together. They worked at Carolina Pride together. Every Friday, the brother and the Mexican brother would come together to buy crack. They would buy crack and drink beers together all night and go home Saturday. Come back again Saturday night. Go home. You wouldn't see them no more. From Sunday to Friday morning to Friday until it was Sunday to Friday morning, you wouldn't see them. But when they got to Friday night, Saturday morning, Saturday night, sometimes not even Saturday morning, it was usually just typically Friday night. They would come, they'd put their money together. They both had about $600, and they had that thing set up. I remember it was a brother, he waited on them. They would come Friday night, spend, I think, about $200 with the brother. $200 worth of crack. They would go together, smoke, drink, do what they did. They'd be out there all night. Come Saturday night, guess what? They back out there again. This time they going crazy. They going real crazy with it. They take $300, give it to them. Go get the beer. They go to the brother crib, which was on the block where we was at, and they did their thing. And every weekend, guess what? They did that for years, man. They did that for years until one of them passed away from smoking crack. But that was their thing. I don't know how long they did it, but I know I caught the tail end of it. And the brother was like, oh, this their little routine that they do. They've been doing this for a long time. You think about every Friday and Saturday, the father is out of the household. Hell, the brother, his son started selling crack after he died. His son started selling crack. Come on, man. Like, this place is hell, man. It's disgusting as hell, man, to see our brothers and sisters have to go through this thing, man. You can go ahead on that article out.
And produce more kids who are more aggressive and angry. Children brought up only by a single mother have a higher risk of developing deviant behavior.
Did you hear what this just said, man? This just said that kids that are brought up by single mothers have a more chance of being brought up or developing more deviant behavior. And what does the word deviant mean? It means abnormal or strange, odd. You know what I'm saying? Most of it means departed from usual or accepting standards, especially in social or sexual behavior. They start to be kind of weird and strange, man. That like they become rapists. You know what I'm saying? You can go ahead out. Or rapists or gangbangers. That's what usually happens. They become gangbangers or they become rapists. Child molesters. Prostitutes. Whores. This is the result of these devils taking our strong man out of our households, man. Right. Go ahead.
Including drug abuse.
Including what?
Drug abuse.
What plagues the black community?
Drug abuse.
What destroys the brown community?
Drug abuse.
What destroys the Native Indian community?
Drug abuse.
Go ahead.
New research suggests Dr. Gabriella McGill University and Francis Bimlinko Center of Addiction and Mental Health publishing in the journal Cerebral Cortex. In a recent study by the Baltimore-based Anna Casey Foundation comparing statistics for its children court report, the organization report that Detroit ranks #1 in unmarried births among the nation's 50 largest cities.
And you wonder why Detroit looks like a shithole, Slaki.
Right.
Why it looks like a crap hole. You ever been in Detroit? Detroit is horrible, man. The homes run down. It's plagued by gun violence. Like, that's ain't that what BMF came from? From Detroit? They said Detroit ranks #1 in unmarried births among the nation's 50 largest cities. Go ahead.
Of the 16,729 babies born in Detroit in 1997, 13,574 were black. 1,679 were white.
That's why we say, go ahead.
And 817 were Hispanic.
This is in 1997. You can only imagine the numbers have tripled. This is why I'd be like, F Slim Shady, man. F Eminem, man. That devil out of here, man. He ain't going through nothing. You mean to tell me out of everybody, only 1,000 devils had to go through what we went through.
Right.
But it was another 16,000 so-called Judites that had to go through this. The numbers have increased since 1997. The numbers have quadrupled. Have you seen our sisters lately? Have you seen our brothers lately? Our sisters going, it was a picture a brother shared. The sister was walking her daughter down the hallway and had like booty shorts on, holding her daughter's hand. And you know it's bad when somebody had to snap a picture of it. She walking with her daughter and literally her butt cheeks are hanging out her shorts while walking her precious baby girl down the hallway at school by herself. By herself. You can go ahead, Hop.
71% were born to unmarried mothers. This compared with a state average of 33% and a 50-city average of 43%.
Go ahead.
Detroit is the worst offender on the list of America's most dangerous cities.
And the only reason, and think about that, take that to mind. The only reason a lot of these cities are considered dangerous cities is because most of these kids are being raised without a father, man.
Right.
They don't have that complete family structure. You got these kids being raised by their mothers, and guess what? Now your city becomes dangerous. You wonder why you're getting robbed. Just like Atlanta, you go to Atlanta, you like everybody be wanna, oh, it's this generation, no, you stupid bastard. The generation before them, the generation before them, the generation before them, and the generation before them has been affected by this devil, man.
Right.
This devil has made up strategic plans to destroy us. And your Christian pastor agreed right along with him.
Right.
Woman, you don't need no man. You what? Say that in the kingdom of heaven and see what's gonna happen to your head. Say that in the kingdom of heaven and see what's gonna happen. Could you get me Psalms 82 and 3 out, if you could, Baba Kashah? Did we already get that?
I don't think so, sir. Okay.
Oh, we already got that one?
Next 2 and 3 count, man.
Okay, come on. Get Psalms chapter 1 to 3, verse 13. Baba Kashah, if you could.
Psalms 103, chapter verse 13. Like as a father piteth his children.
Like a father who pitteth his children, man. Meaning, you care about your children, man. You know what I'm saying? Like your children, man, you look at your kids, you like, man, they need me. My kids need me. You know what I'm saying? It's like having pity for your kids, man. Like you understand the whole concept of being a father when you start to mature, especially with you being in this truth. You understand how important it is for the father and the mother to be in their household, man. You start to develop this thing for your kids. Like, I have to be here for these kids.
Right.
I have to, especially if the mother's allowing you to be here for them kids. You're not going to be so quick to run out. You're going to be like, you know what? I got to be here for these kids, man. Go ahead.
So the Lord pitied them that fear him.
And the Lord feels the same way about us, man. Us that fear him and listen, he's the same way. Like, man, I got to be here for these kids, man. I'm going to make sure these babies are, I'm going to make sure these children are all right. I'm going to take care of them. That's why the I.S.U.P.K pushes that keep these laws, statutes, and commandments, man. It's like it. You know what I'm saying? Can I get Proverbs chapter 13, verse 24?
Proverbs 13 and 34.
13 and 24. Salaki, that's my fault.
Proverbs 13 and 24. He that spared his rod hath his son, but he that loveth him chastise him betimes.
Right. When you got kids, man, you got to chastise your kids, man. You got to teach your kids the right thing, man. You got to chastise them sometimes. Look, son, you got to do this, you got to do that. And you at a point now where some parents don't even allow you to do that with your kids, man. They don't even allow you to do that with your kids. You try to discipline your kids in some households, sister gonna call the police on you. Just like that brother who was whooping his daughter's tail because he found out they was twerking on Facebook. He seen them twerking on Facebook, and he said, "Y'all want to do something? You want? I wouldn't recommend no brother to do this." But he disciplined his kids for twerking on Facebook, and guess what? His wife called the police on him. Guess what? Them kids don't have a father right now. He went to jail for that. That brother went to jail for that, for child abuse. You think he's gonna stay in the household with that woman? You think he gonna stay in there with her, or he gonna, let me get the hell out of here. Let me get out of here while I got a chance. It's like, give me 1 minute, brothers and sisters.